Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Journal podcast. I'm Joe Bullmore. I'm the editor of Gentleman's Journal, and I'm joined today by Martin Kuczmarski, the restaurateur and proprietor behind the Dover Street Counter and Martino's in Chelsea, and the former COO of Soho House, to talk hospitality in the modern moment and his journey in restaurants. Martin Kuczmarski.
Well pronounced, thank you.
My friend, how are you? So, when you say well pronounced, I know. Do people often get that wrong, Martin Kuczmarski?
You got it wrong.
Did I? You tell me how to say it.
No, you're right. It's Kuczmarski.
Kuczmarski.
Actually, it's actually not that difficult. I mean, if you say...
It's not at all difficult.
Because you have the C, the Z, all together, the constant. But if I say it is Kuczmarski, it's actually quite easy. But it's Kuczmarski, yes.
Kuczmarski, which is the birth of your hospitality group. Difficult name.
Correct, and it's a funny story. When I left Soho House, I always knew that I'm going to be in hospitality again because this is what I love. This is what I like. This is what I know. I don't know anything else. Don't ask me to be a journalist. Forget it.
Don't ask me.
No. I love hospitality, and I knew that I would start again. Yeah. And so I said, look, you know what? I need to set up my own little company. And at Soho House, because of my last name, I have the nickname MK. So I've been known as a MK. And because this was my new book or new chapter, I said there needs to be a new company. And I spent weeks, looking at different names. And in the name of the company, I never wanted to add hospitality, because this is what I do. I said, if you know me, you know me. And so I couldn't find a name, and my wife Ruby told me just call it Martin Kuczmarski Hospitality. I said, no one will come, and she said, well, call it MK. I said, no, MK was Soho House. I want to move on. It's a new chapter. It's a new book I'm writing. I want to something new. And I spent weeks of trying to find a new name.
What did you have? What names did you go for?
Silly names. Like anything that has nothing to do with hospitality.
Just cool names.
Just random names, but it never sat well with in my heart.
Yeah.
And one night, I love glass of wine. I had maybe too many glasses of red wine.
Super Tuscan.
Super Tuscan indeed. Yeah. Tinanello, I think. and I was at home, and Ruby came back, and she said, "You look upset." I said, I'm pissed off, oops, sorry. And she went, why? I said, well, it's weeks, and I can't find the name for my company. And Ruby said, well, call it your name. It's Martin Kuczmarski. There's many skis and skirts around the world, very famous ones, and very good one. That's your name, nothing to be ashamed of. I said, no. And she said, why? I said, no one can fucking pronounce it. No one can remember it. No one can spell it. And I went and I had a few drinks. And I went, it's fucking difficult name. And she went, what did you say? I said, it's a difficult name. Call it. I said, done.
Brilliant.
And I called difficult name. And now, and it's people who know me, when I see my company name, it put a smile on their faces. And that break the ice. I don't want to take myself seriously. Hospitality is about fun.
Yeah.
And I just called it difficult name. And every time, if I give my business card or something, it's a difficult name, and people said, oh yeah, it is difficult. Actually, it's not difficult. So this started the conversation.
Yeah.
So that was the name of the company.
Did you know that you wanted to do a group after Soho House? Did you know it was going to be a company, or did you think you just do one site and see how you got on?
No, look, Joe, I left Soho House. I learned a lot. I've made a lot of good friends at Soho House. I gave a lot, and I was really proud what we have achieved in that group. So I left, I took some time off, and I went kite surfing, whatever, diving, all that stuff by myself, and I kind of wrote a little contract to myself.
Really?
Yeah, I said, look, how do I start again? What are the principles that I want to hold on it.
You physically wrote it down?
Yeah, physically.
Wow.
Little contract, and I called contract or clauses. I had 4 or 5 clauses, and one was that I don't want to work for anyone else.
Okay.
Yeah? And of course, we all work for someone else. We have partners, we have investors, we have partners at home. Those were our bosses, but not as a big corporation. Not I don't know, Aman, Four Seasons, Six Senses, or any big corporate big groups.
Did a lot of them approach you?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. When I left, I had a lot of, of course, quite flattering offers. Yeah. Oh, would you join us? I said, look, I've done big company. I've done from small company to big. I've done it. So that was rule number 1.
Okay.
I said I don't want to join another big corporation.
Yeah.
Number 2, I said I don't want to be a consultant. I don't want to be consultant or advisor. I said not all, but majority of the consultants, they, in my opinion, they go around, they take that finger, or that finger if you're left-handed, they go in the place and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is good, this is wrong, take the money, and they go, And they don't have any ownership or responsibility or even being proud of what they do. So, and I never wanted to do that. I said, whenever I do, I need to get involved and be 100% responsible. If it's great, I'll take the credit. If we make mistakes, I'll take it on the chin. So I said no to any consultant or advisors. So that was number 2. Number 3, I said whenever I do, if it's a small coffee shop in the corner or a restaurant or a hotel or a resort, has to be beautiful. Has to be really beautiful, but beautiful not just the way it looks. There need to be substance inside. I wanted to people walk in and feel something in the stomach, feel some goosebumps. From the soul of the place to the design to the smile of the people we have. I said has to have substance and have to make a difference to the customer or to our teams. So that was number 3. What else I had? Number 4. Number 4 says I would like to work only with people that I genuinely love, and which is hard. There's a lot of people, and I wanted to make sure that when I go to bed, I go to bed with a smile. When I wake up in the morning, I wake up with a smile.
Every day, is that possible?
I think it is.
Wow,
I think it is.
that's
I think it's hard, but I think it is possible. Sometimes when someone calls you, and you see the name, I said, oh no, I don't want to answer.
Yeah.
I said, I don't want to be in that position. I wanted everyone who calls me that I work with, I'll pick up this phone because that person is a nice, kind person.
Yeah.
And which is super important because, the life is very short. I call it, we are on this earth on borrowed time. And you have to enjoy it. Enjoying it doesn't mean dancing on the table every night. Enjoying means being serene, have a smile on your face, and do the right thing. So that was kind of my principle or clause number 4. And the last one was, I want to give back. I want to give back to people who are in need, but not just financially give back. Because I think often a lot of people, I support this charity, fine, but I think there's more than just financial help. You can help someone with your time. You can help someone with your knowledge. You can support someone in the difficult times. And I asked myself, how many bottles of red wine you can have? How many nice watches you can have? And I said to myself, as long my immediate family is healthy, and I have bread and butter to eat, is fine, Yeah. And then I want to help others. So those are my kind of 5 principles.
Yeah.
And then I come back to London after a few months off. I look around what's happening in hospitality, but mainly in the cities like, Milan, London, Paris, LA, and I was lucky that I travel a lot and I seen what's happening. And my background is very old school, traditional background, from 5-star hotel to Michelin star and everything else. And then I look at hospitality in general. There's a lot of great things happening, and there are amazing operators, amazing owners, amazing chefs, but me coming back from very old, kind of traditional and quite strict background, I look at it, I said, what's happening with hospitality? Why everyone is trying to reinvent the wheel? I said, what's happening with the tablecloth? There's no more tablecloths in the restaurants, in general.
Yeah.
So what's happening with a candle on the table with real light, not battery-operated lamp?
Yeah.
Why you go to the restaurant and the first thing you notice is DJ in the corner and just boom, boom, boom. It's not a nightclub. If you want to go to a nightclub, go to a nightclub. As soon as you sit down and you order your starters, a manager will come and say, Joe, do you mind to order because I need a table by 9 o'clock? And I said, I have to do something about this. I have to really try to bring the old school hospitality back with modern eyes, and of course we are in 2026. Of course, there's many things change and evolve, but the principle of the old school elegance remained the same, and that was where the Dover was born.
Yeah, amazing. I want to jump about a little bit. Where, what was Soho House like when you first started working there? And over quite a short period of time, you made it into something, with obviously the help of a huge team, into something really very different and quite impressive. What was that journey like going from, take us back to the first days, I suppose, of Soho House?
Well, it was really, really amazing because, I joined, a long time ago. The company was very small.
Yeah.
I met Nick Jones outside of Soho Houses on a social occasion, and I kind of fell in love in his vision, and his vision was always, look after the customer, look after members of staff, and make every decision in favor of these two groups.
Right.
And if you make a decision which is good for the customer and is of member, or is good for members of staff, the business will follow. And I love his approach to hospitality, but I also loved what he started doing with the design and the approach of being open all day, the all-day dining. The design was, we are the first one to design bars, hotels, restaurants that they didn't look like restaurants. They look like private homes. They were warm. They were comfortable. We are the first one that you could eat scrambled eggs at 11 p.m. or if you want burger at 9 o'clock, you have the burger at 9 o'clock because chef has eggs in the kitchen. They can do scrambled eggs at any time. It's not like, it's not on the menu. Well, do you have eggs? Do it. So I was really attracted to that because it was something completely new. But I also knew that I could contribute something because I was coming from really strict background.
Right.
And Soho House, at the beginning was all about fun, all about customers and members, and needed a little bit of structure at the back. So I said, you know what? I was young, so let me try it because it's completely different avenue what I was trained and studied.
What year was this then when you first met Nick?
This was 2006.
Okay.
2006 and 2006 I met Nick. I think I joined 2007 and I left in 2022, end of 2022.
15 years.
Yeah, so 15, 16 years, yeah.
So how many houses were there in 2006?
Well, when I joined, we had, not many we had. I can tell you we had the Electric House in Portobello, we had Soho House, of course, we had Babiton House, High Road House, and Shoreditch House was just opening, so I was part of when we joined, and New York. So six houses and Chaconi's in Mayfair. And when I left, considering all the restaurants, the Net in London and the Members Club, there was over 40 properties, all combined. So huge journey, very inspiring, very entrepreneurial. We never sat in the boardroom. We never said, "Ooh, what should we do?" We really make all the decision just by God. Does it feel good? I remember when one day someone invited us to Berlin, where Soho House Berlin is now. Said, "Look, we have this building, and we think it could be great to be great Soho House in Germany." So me and Nick said, "Okay, I haven't been to Berlin, neither Nick." We took the plane, we stood up outside of the building, and Nick is very fast, and said, "Oh, this is beautiful." So that was the first instinct. This is beautiful. The building looks amazing and has a history behind it, and a lot of depth. And then second thing, let's go on the roof. That was always our second thing. Let's go on the roof. And we went all the way on the roof, scaffolding, see the view. I said, okay, we should do it. And then we worked out how to do it, because now we are like a small startup.
Yeah.
We had not much money in the bank, and so we had to, get investors and get other partners to help us. So it was very organic, and was always because a member or customer asked us to do it.
Yeah.
So we never drove Soho House expansion or growth by sitting in the boardroom.
And you were COO right from the start, or were you?
No, so I started as a general manager at Electric.
Okay.
And I will never forget. I remember I on the first day, Nick called me like a week before I started. Look, I have a little challenge at Electric. Would you mind to start your role at Electric to fix it? And if you are good, the way you're telling me that you're good, you will grow in the company. I said, sure. I was young, ambitious. Why not? I'm going to show it what I can do. And so on day one, I said, let me just check. I wanted to come very early to check the night cleaners. How do they clean the place from the night before? And coming from quite corporate background, I had a suit on. I took my tie off, and I had, brand new black polished shoes. And I'll never forget, I was walking up the staircase. The club is on the first floor, and every step I took, you know what I'm gonna say?
Yeah.
You look.
Yeah.
It's like glue.
Like a student nightclub.
Correct.
When everyone is throwing.
Yeah, from the night before.
Yeah.
From the night before, beer. When I thought, oh no. And I remember I went on the first floor. I called Ruby, my wife, and I said, I think I've made the biggest mistake in my career.
Well, on the first morning, you thought that?
Because I was not used to such a messy situation, and coming from a 5-star hotel background, and Ruby said, look, you're young, so day one, try it. If you don't like it, you can change and leave. And if you can contribute, you can change, you can improve it, you enjoy it. And of course I stayed for 15 years, but that was my first job. I was the general manager of the Electric House. Then I have become director of operations for UK. And then when we start expanding in Europe and in States, I've become chief operating officer.
So what was the problem he wanted you to fix? Was it just messiness and sticky floors? Was it a general thing?
In the old days, Soho House was fun, and you can have, one day fun, you can have every day fun, as long the day after you perform. You perform because, if you are not partying the night before and you come for breakfast, you want your scrambled eggs on time with the coffee on time. Yeah. And often there was a little bit of confusion between who is partying and who is customer. Okay. So a little bit more structure, a little more discipline. But and then and spent 15 years, along Nick Jones, who is one of my best friends.
Yeah. I'm so intrigued by it because having known you for a little while now, everything you do is very emotional, as you say. It's from the heart, from the gut. And yet, when I think of the traditional COO, you think in your head of people who are very, driven by data and operations, and they're incredibly on the details. Is it possible to be both? It seems like you can hold both in your hand.
I was lucky enough that me and Nick work like this. We are really attached like this. I have never taken any decision without speaking to Nick, and Nick has never taken any big decision without talking to me. So I spoke to Nick. If I didn't spend time with him physically, I spoke to Nick more than I have spoken to my wife. Every day. My phone was always on. It's from small things, how we serve cappuccino to the bigger things, to the new openings, and I think we complement ourselves. I'm half Polish, half Italian, so I have a little bit of structure in my blood.
Okay, that's the Polish side.
And it's correct. It's a good combination. The Polish are quite strong, quite direct, quite super organized, and Italians and hello. So that was perfect for hospitality. And Nick is very creative. And I always describe Nick throw a couple of tennis balls, and it was my job to catch them and put them in the right place in the right moment.
Okay.
So we are lucky that we kind of just work together very, very well, and we complemented each other. His strengths were my weaknesses, my strength was his weaknesses, and so I think that was a perfect couple to grow that company.
Yeah. And when you joined, it was a beloved brand. I mean, I must have been around that age. I was like just 18, and Soho House kind of loomed large as the final level of London life and success. All the cool kids were going there. My older brothers were going there, and then it grew, over the years into kind of an international touch point, and everyone was copying its look and feel, and everyone made their homes to look like Soho houses. It was a phenomenon. Were there any mistakes along the way? Do you remember any kind of missteps on that? Quite incredible.
Yeah, look, if you don't make mistake, you don't learn.
Yeah.
And because we are a very entrepreneurial company driven by passion. Every decision we have taken was by passion. It feels good. That was it feels good. But sometimes when things feel good, maybe not 100% correct. We make a lot of mistakes, but if you make a mistake, we try to learn from it. Okay, let's not repeat that mistake again. So any new openings, we said, okay, we make 10 mistakes from a previous mistake. Let's try not to make them. So, but we are learning as we go on, because we never, I never done such a thing in my life, neither Nick, and so we are just learning on our mistakes. So it was tough. It was really tough.
Really tough.
Yeah.
What were the toughest times?
I think there was 1 year. I think we opened 6 different houses globally. Plus we did house festival, for 5,000 people in July. And I was like, okay.
That in its own is a full-time thing.
Yeah, we did 5 openings. I said, how we can do it? And we said, we have the team. True, but I'm control freak and Nick was control freak. So if you choose the chair or do the food testing, I had to be there. I had to be on the opening night. I had to be there for weeks, to set it up. I think often probably we ran too fast.
Okay.
If I pick up one thing, maybe we're a little bit too fast in doing the things.
Yeah. What was in that year in particular? Were you sleeping well? Like, what was your life like? Were you able to balance it, or not really?
There was a moment I used to take over 100 flights a year.
100 flights a year. Yeah. So it's 2 a week.
2 weeks, like up, down, up, down, up, down. It's constantly.
Across time zones.
Yeah, you can. Me and Nick used to go to Hong Kong for 24 hours. So, we used to, then on the way back, let's stop by Mumbai. And then the week after, we go to LA for the Oscar parties. And then, so there was, the plan is sometimes you wake up and say, okay, on which way is my bathroom? Because the night before the bathroom was on the right, now it's on the left. So look, we really were probably super fast, often maybe too fast. And but there was a lot of fun, really a lot of fun, and we I was personally driven by adrenaline, because we really loved what I was doing. I love the company, I love the team that we built together. They until today, most of them they're still my very good friends. Yeah. If I do a birthday party or my wedding, they all came to my wedding, whenever. It was a family. I know the word could be quite a little bit family, but we are family. We are really a family. There was no politics, I must say. If we felt that we have to tell you something, we tell you straight on. We don't hold it. We don't wait for your probation period. We just tell you now. Said, I don't like your beard. I love it.
You've got a lovely beard yourself now.
Thank you. Yeah, it took several hours to groom it. Yes. But we are very honest. We are very transparent, and we are just there was no filter. And
that's good.
There was no filter.
Yeah, I bet. Just on the beard thing, I was listening to an interview with you this morning. when you said that in one of your very first jobs in London, the boss would check with a piece of paper whether you were clean shaven or not.
Yeah. So coming from traditional background, and when you used to go to work to this Michelin star restaurant or old school 5-star hotel, your boss, your metro D, just on the briefing, you stood and the first thing, show me your hand. Are your hands clean? Are your nails clean? Really that was the old school. And they said, can you your collars was close, and are your hair cut above the collar? And I didn't have this. This is Soho House time, and I remember. This Metro D and our manager, he had piece of paper, and he was going one by one, and just very quietly, just like. So, and if you could hear, that means you didn't shave clean enough.
Wow.
There was not wet shave.
So he'd send you.
So he would send me. I was lucky now that I shaved properly whenever, but it was like I could see like, okay, you didn't shave, go back. So it was really precise military operation on those days. I mean, it doesn't happen anymore, but yeah.
No. And I want to go back even further than that. So you grew up in Tuscany.
Yes.
Which to me just sounds a completely heavenly place. And you were on the coast as well.
Yeah, in Viareggio. So I was born in Poland, and my parents divorced.
Yeah.
My mom moved to Tuscany, so I grew up in Viareggio on the seaside. And then I went to hotel school in Marina di Massa on the seaside, and I remember when all my mates and school colleagues used to go to the nightclubs over the weekend or during the season. I worked, I really worked. Every season. From June when the school stopped to September, I had the summer job because I was hungry to learn. I wanted to learn. So when they were partying, I was ironing tablecloths somewhere.
So you didn't go. You must have partied a bit on the beach.
Oh yeah. I love a good party.
I was going to say you have to. You have to be in hospitality. Surely you have to.
No. You have to party to understand how to party.
Yeah, of course.
And how to give good time to people. Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay. But I work first and then I party.
Okay, you did both.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Was food very important back then? I mean, it's hard to say that.
Yeah, look, I love food, drink, and people. And if I go to bed and I've met someone happier, I'm satisfied. Even now, by talking to you, I have a little tear in my eye because
I love it.
Because it's this is what I love. I love. Okay, we had a couple of nice days of weather. It's like, oh, it's a rosé time, Yeah. But yeah, the food, drink, and being with people is super important for me. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And you learned that probably at a young age.
Yeah. Sometimes even now when I go to our restaurant, sometimes it's 5 o'clock. I'm a little bit tired, and so I drive, or let's say I take the taxi. I go to Dover Shitcanto, Martino's, and then it's like, oh my God, okay. Do I need to see all these people? And then as soon as the doors open and I'm inside, something clicks with me.
Yeah.
And the new energy is inside, the new smile comes back, and I can carry on until
they're closed.
I can close.
Yeah.
All the young kids, they can be, I'm tired, I'll be still around.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Sometimes on the way to things, you do feel like, I'd rather just be at home. And then when you get there, you're always glad that you're there. Maybe it's just you get the energy from the people.
Exactly. I've got energy from the people, and then I give back that energy.
Yeah.
So I walk in the room, I said, it feels good, let's go. And then I start talking to people, I crack the joke with the waiting staff, I go to see the chef, I challenge them, I push them, I'm control freak, so I check all the details. But then, the new energy is in your body, and people feel that. And people really, in our restaurant, people feel that there's good energy around it.
How many nights a week then are you out about in your restaurants or in other restaurants? Or
during the week, in our restaurant every day I'm in our restaurants. There's not one day that I would not touch it. I have to go
every single one.
Every single one. Occasionally I might miss one, but normally, like today, I was at in Sloane Square at Martino's. After this, I'll be in Mayfair. And tonight I'll be on the floor, jumping between the two. And on the floor, that means that, hi, how are you? Being with the staff, help them. And Yeah. So every day I'll be in one of our restaurants, and then, when we open, I'll be, you saw me on the opening of Martino's. Every evening I'll be there when we open, and then when I feel that the team is kind of ready to drive that machine by themselves, I'll step back, and I'll come once a week for dinner, with my friend Ruby, so I can feel it as a customer. I can taste the food. I can see the lighting. I can see the music. And one night I'll be on the floor. I'll be slightly older waiter, because I want to make sure that I touch the thing. So if I go to a members of staff, if I go to the chef, if I go to a bartender, if I tell them, no, this is not right, it comes from both views. It comes from the customer perspective, because I was there, I had dinner, and I observed. But also, I see from the operation point of view, if I'm a bartender, how it feels. Do I have enough space? Do I have enough glasses? Do I have eyes? No, so I can correct both. So if I give some feedback that needs to be addressed, because I've done both, and I'm still doing, the members of staff is receiving that information very well without challenging me. So, we can't do this. Well, you can, because I just did it. Exactly. So, and a lot of people say lead by example, and I truly do. And probably a little bit too much. And often my team said, okay, can you just go? Can you just leave us alone? And sometimes I feel guilty not to be there.
Really?
I said, I said, ooh.
I should be there.
I should be there. Why am I at home on Friday night? Which doesn't happen often. But if I do, I said, oh, I shouldn't be at home.
Yeah.
I should be with our guys on the floor. But if you are there too often, you don't allow them to grow. You don't allow them to make mistakes. You don't allow them to take responsibilities. You just keep babysitting a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's a right balance. So sometimes I need to force myself. Martin, it's time to go.
Okay.
Let them
go.
Yeah.
And do you go to lots of other restaurants?
Yes. Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we open 2 restaurants in December, which is a stupid idea to open 2 places, 2 places at the same time, and of course that took a lot of my time. So in the January, February, March, I spent most of the time in our restaurant. But as soon as I have a little bit of time, I go to see it, because I want to see what happens. I want to see what other people do, and the most important, I want to learn. I think by going out in your places and other places, you can't criticize. You have to go and say, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I can learn. And you have to be really open-minded. So I love going out, I always, even today I was for lunch somewhere in Chelsea, and the meal was okay, and then something happened. I said, oh, this is very nice. And I have learned something.
What was that?
I can't say because, I'll tell you offline. Yeah.
I was at Martino's on Saturday night, as you know. It was lovely. And I spoke to Monica beforehand.
Yes.
And we were just chatting about you and...
Oh.
But what she said is, you're amazingly calm. Because she was talking about the opening and everything, and then she was saying you're very, very calm, and and you're very calming presence in the room, which is, I mean, I can see that. She said sometimes you would tell people, if they needed to go stand in the fridge as a joke, to cool down when you weren't putting people in the fridge. But it struck me that it must be. There can't be anything more stressful, really, in the world of business than opening a restaurant on the first few nights. Do you think you have a kind of disposition that allows you to be unnaturally chilled in those scenarios?
No, I think it's a perception.
Okay.
People think that I'm calm, and probably I'm. When we open Martino's or the Dovo or any opening, even in my previous life, I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous. Yeah. I'm very tense. I'm really tense. I'm very emotionally taken.
Yeah.
But because you have the team, you have to. They're nervous. They are maybe a little bit less experienced. Maybe this is their first opening. So as a leader, you have to show them the calm. So often my calmness here is good acting.
Yeah.
But behind it, oh fuck, this is not gonna work. This is gonna happen. Whatever. But if you are in a position like mine, like a conductor, you have to be calm to direct people in the right way, especially during the opening. But every opening we've done, I'm super nervous. I'm quite short because I have no time to explain people how to do it. Just do it. This is how it needs to be done. But when the doors are open, I call a restaurant like theater. You're on the stage, and everyone looks at you. Everyone from customer to your team members, so the way you dress, the way your body language, the way you speak. So you have to all your emotions hide it, contain it, and just be calm leader. But I don't consider myself calm. I'm a little bit nutcase. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the perception she had anyway.
Good. That was good. That's very good.
And often, if you act calm or act confident or act anyway, your brain starts to think you are. It's quite a good trick.
Yeah.
So 2022, you leave Soho House, you go paragliding, hang gliding,
kite surfing,
and you make this contract yourself. How long after that did the site on Dover Street that then became the Dover pop up, and what was it about that in particular you thought, right, this is the first one, this is it?
Yeah, well, I knew the site was already available, and I always love Dover Street. I don't know the name. I love that street. It's like, even though it's not the most glamorous street in Mayfair, I love that street. But also, I used to love Automat. Those used to be original Automat. It was classic. It was one of the first kind of this American cool diners. You could eat anything at any time. It was all day brass. It was fantastic.
And it had like a 4 a.m. license or something, maybe?
Yeah. There was a secret door going down. Yeah. And I when I saw the site for the first time, and it's not easy site because it's long and narrow. And of course, and then it opens to the dining room. But in my head, I always wanted a bar. I wanted 3 different aspects to your experience when you come as a guest. Often, most of the time, before you go for dinner, you said, let's go for a drink somewhere.
Yeah.
And often said, oh, where should I go for a drink before I go to the restaurant? And I wanted to create everything under one roof.
Okay.
So that's why I fell in love, because in my head I had the vision already. Okay, this could be a bar, so I can come here for a drink before I go for the dinner. Then I move to the dining room.
Yeah.
But also, if I only want to come for a drink, I can come for a drink. If I go to theater or post theater, I can just pop in and have vodka martini and mini hot dog. So I think the layout really worked what I wanted in my head, and then I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's try it.
Okay.
And it was really nerve cracking because it was my first solo venture. I had not big machine behind me like I had Soho House. Everything was my idea. I couldn't bounce any ideas with anyone because I wanted to keep everything secret. It was like, actually, I was talking to myself in the mirror in the morning. I said, what do you think if you put penne arrabbiata on the menu? No? And so it was really nerve cracking. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Before it was that, wasn't it? There was a couple of years when it was something else.
Yeah, it used to be a restaurant called Monks.
Yeah. Which had quite an expensive fit out.
Yeah.
It was only, I think, pandemic.
It was just closed before pandemic or during pandemic. Yeah.
And so, did you see lots of sites where you offered lots of things?
No, that was the one I selected. I said, this is it. When you buy a home or you rent a home and you go to see the house, you know it. So
and if it's too expensive, you go, we'll work that out.
Yeah. And I remember I walked in. I said, I've got it. I have to have it.
Okay.
I have to have it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long did it take then before you had an idea that fitted that, as in the cuisine and the vibe, or was it all pretty much forming?
No, so look, I wanted to do, Italian American, because being Italian, and I spent a lot of time in States during my Soho House times, from LA to Chicago to New York, and there's a little of history on this Italo-American, and Italians, they immigrated from Italy, in early 20s to Argentina. I'm not gonna say it for what reasons. To Brazil. I'm not gonna say it for what reasons. And then
wait, I don't know what this is. What are the reasons?
Well, Argentina for fun.
Okay.
And something maybe illegal. Brazil for girls and the sun. And they moved to New York to work.
Okay.
And And there were majority of Italians moved to Brooklyn, that part. But they had no money. So when they start cooking Italian food, what they mamas, grandmas used to cook in Italy, they had not enough money to buy a good product, and also was scarcity of the good product. So when they do tomato pasta, let's say, which is the most simple Italian dish, because the tomato was not the best, what they did, they keep adding spices. So they put, a little of cream maybe. They put a little of chili. And suddenly the Italian food in New York has been pushed a little bit.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Pure Italians are purists of the product. You go to some of the good Italian restaurants and you order mozzarella, and it's like mozzarella with a dash of olive oil. This is perfect mozzarella. You take that mozzarella and you put in 20s in New York. There's many things happening in that mozzarella because it was not the best quality, so they had to hide the quality of this ingredient. But also I love old school the mafia movies, from Sopranos to Godfather. There's something, or most recent one, not mafia, but the Mad Men. There's something always quite sexy, quite romantic, and quite secretive. It's always dark. The sparkle of the candle. People smoking at the bar and having vodka martini, and I couldn't find this in London, and I wanted a vodka martini. Honest, I said I want a place where I can go for vodka martini, and not music playing boom 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 in my head. Then I want to move to the dining room. I want the dining room to be lit by candles flickering, quite dark, like a Sopranos that don't know what's happening. I want to have double tablecloth, so when you put something, there's no noise and is soft and comfortable. And I want a bowl of pasta, just very simple. But I want bowl of pasta to be the best quality. I want the bowl of pasta to be served in a beautiful fine bone china, silver and crystal glasses, and not to be expensive. Just to have good value for money, not cheap, not expensive, just price well. So that was kind of the idea in my head. And then the big part was design of the Dover. And if you really look at restaurants around the world and hospitality, and there's amazing designers. So I'm not going to criticize any of the designers, because I think there are some fantastic designers. But if you really step back a little bit and you start looking at every restaurant, you'll notice some similarities. You know, I have seen that table somewhere else. I have seen that chair somewhere else. I have seen that lamp somewhere else. Because you have big studios around the world. They have designed 20 restaurants or whatever. And then someone used to work for that studio. Said, a young guy said, I'm going to open my own studio, design studio. Great, But you have learned the style from that restaurant, from that group. So suddenly, the chair that has been used in Vegas or LA is in the same chair that you're having in Paris in the latest restaurant. And so I look at them, I said, they all look a little bit the same. Not on the naked eye, but you have to look a little the same. And I challenged myself. I said, I don't want to work with any designers that I worked in the past, and I don't want to work with anyone who designed a restaurant or bar before. And I was in, just to make things very simple. And I was in Milan. And a very good friend of mine, told me, look, I'm going to show you this design studio because I'm doing my new house, and these guys are designing the house for me. So come with me, just you meet them. I said, sure. So I went inside, and I had the site for the Dover already here, and I already had the whole vision in my head. No mood boards, but I knew I wanted black and white floor. I knew I wanted, wood paneling, like Riva style or Orient Express in old days. There's a lot of design feature that I knew in my head, but I'm not the designer. I have very strong views on the design, but I'm not the designer, I'm not the architect. So I needed someone professional to help me. So I walk in that studio, and instantly I look at the studio and said, this is nice studio. I said, can I see the owners to the reception? And the two owners came. And I grew up in Italy, so I said, okay, some Italians will come. And then this couple come, and she, Fanny, who is a very good friend of mine, they run the studio, it's called Studio Drago. She's Norwegian and grew up and lived in Italy for 20 years, let's say. And she's married to David, who is Spanish, live in Milan for the last 20 years. So I already like them because they were not Italian and living in Italy for 20 years, they're designing a place. So I said, these guys, they have brains like more open. Yeah. And I stood in the reception. I said, I love your studio. And I said, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. And if the answer is no, I'm going to offer you something. And I'm half Polish, she's half Norwegian, she's quite direct.
Yeah.
And she said, excuse me, who the fuck you are? I said, oh no. I said, you're right. So I introduced myself. And then I asked, I said, have you designed a restaurant before? And they said, not really. I said, yes. Have you designed a bar before? Not really. Yes. Have you designed a hotel? Yeah, we did something in Tuscany, a small little, I don't know, 10-bedroom little thing, but nothing at the scale of, proper hospitality. I said, okay, would you like to work with me? And she looked at me and said, you are fucking mad, but yes.
Wow.
And she said like this on the instinct. Day after they were on the plane, I showed them the site. I explained my vision, and they have become my very dear friends. And we did Dovesh Counter together, and we did Martino's together, and they're really, really talented. And the biggest thing, two things: they don't have no ego. A lot of designers have ego. They try to force you. You need to have that chair. Why? Oh, because I think it's a nice chair. I said, no. I said, the chair needs to be comfortable. That's the first thing. Is it high enough? Is it wide enough? Is it okay for the table? That's the first thing to do in the restaurant. Not because it's designed by X. And so they don't have any ego. And the biggest thing, we have very similar style. So if I start a sentence, they will finish, or if they start the sentence, I will finish the sentence. So they are brilliant. They have amazing studio in Milan called Studio Drago. I'll never do any other project without them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
good.
quite jealous. They're doing a lot of hospitality now. I said, what are you doing? Why are you doing this hotel there? So I'm quite jealous of you. So I'm trying to sign the contract that you can't do anything else.
Good idea.
Yeah,
good idea.
Yeah. But they're fantastic guys. So
And you didn't do any real sort of big splash PR when it opened.
No.
It was very quietly done. Anyone who's been there knows that there's not really a big sign. Now you've got a little tiny sign on the
for
front,
lunch.
on the
For
roof,
lunch.
for the lunch.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly it's just a very small thing on the window. You could easily walk past that place and not know.
Yes.
What was it like on night one or even week one, or month one, I suppose, which is more reflective?
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of restaurants opening in any city, especially in London. And I was really thinking, how do I launch this restaurant? And being myself, not having a big group, big machine behind it, and a lot of new restaurants up at that time, and there was a lot of noise, a lot of celebrities coming in, a lot of paparazzi outside and fireworks and this. One, I don't like that style, and two, I said, well, I can't compete against them. I don't have that tools now because I'm alone. I don't have those tools to fight against them.
Yeah.
So I had to make a decision that, I'm going to try to fight against them, against the noises of other restaurants opening, or I do something in the middle, and I don't like doing things in the middle.
You get lost.
Or I don't do nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. And I said, you know what? Actually, it's quite nice not doing nothing. And I remember I came home and I said to Ruby, she asked me, how are you going to open the restaurant? I said, well, I just opened the door. Actually, the curtain. We have the curtain. I just opened the curtain.
So you walked in that night.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I said, here we go. And
you must have had friends coming over. Yeah.
No, yeah. But she said, are you sure? I said, no.
Really?
And I really know on the day I cried, emotionally cried. I was scared because I said, if I open that door or that curtain and no one comes, I'm in the shit here.
Yeah.
Really, as a reputation, personal reputation, financial risk. But I promised myself, if I look after people the way I want to be looked after, people will come back. People, they will be my influencers. They will be my people who will talk. So we open the door. We invite. I was lucky enough that I know a lot of people, from my previous work. So we invited a lot of people during week 1. And it was not soft opening, it was not hard. We just opened the door, and I said, okay, come for dinner. And I said, look, if we deliver what I want to be delivered, which is, very understated elegance, well priced, comfortable with beautiful design and kind and genuine service, people will come back. It's gonna take longer, but it must be more powerful.
Yeah.
And I remember to my team when I was explaining, I said, imagine a glass of water. I want that glass of water to become, not soon, but slowly, a glass of red wine. So every day we're going to throw 1 drop of red wine until it become really, really red, And that was our approach for the opening. And luckily, we opened, touch wood, has been nearly 3 years now. We full every lunch, every dinner, with great people, and I think that's the biggest achievement. I think the success of the restaurant I measure success if you have happy customers, happy staff. That's the simple, because if you have happy customer, happy staff, money, profit will work out. But we have happy customers, happy staff. Financially is performing very, very well, and the most important, we have nice people, really nice customers. And nice doesn't mean, I am ex-celebrity from LA. It's fun, we have them as well. But we have really nice, kind people who are kind of, I would say, probably fabric of London entertainment scene.
Yeah. I'm just gonna check how we're doing for time. We've got time. So, and after that then comes obviously Dover Street Counter. There's lots of things I could ask you about that. But I think the thing that people have picked up on, and which I love as well, is the soundtrack. Which is the playlist is very distinctive. A lot of places have, I hear the same songs in so many places, very niche sort of songs, but I think they must all have the same general playlist. And then you go into yours and it takes you back to 2002, listening in your brother's car on tinny speakers to some UK garage, and you're like, okay, this is different, and it's really fun. It gets you in a completely different mood. Did you almost have the playlist in your head first, and then find the site for it? How important was that to the whole thing?
Good question, and I don't know how that happened. Honest, and another thing, we as a company now, as a difficult name, we don't sit around the table and do SWOT analysis.
Okay.
What is the next trend? What should we do? We just go with the flow and what feels good. So when we are designing Dover Street Counter, and again, Dover Street Counter was born from opportunity. Someone approached me and said, look, we have this site which is next door to you. Would you like to do it? I went to look at it. I said, oh no, another long and narrow site. I said, no. And but I am persistent and ambitious and hard to myself. I said, well, I can make this work. And being at the Dover and spending, because it was my first restaurant, I spent every night there. I did my research by observing customer behavior and people on the street, people in Mayfair. And I just look around and I said, okay, Mayfair has changed now. There are some beautiful parts and there are some not so beautiful parts, There are some naff parts with loud music and skirts up to here and, big Rolexes and yellow Lamborghini outside. And I look at Mayfair and I said, look, there's a lot of actually cool, young people working in Mayfair. Not the private equity guys, not the hedge funders, but especially on Dover Street, you have a lot of art galleries. And so there are a lot of people who work in these galleries, who are the galleries, who are the receptionists, who are the events managers. Behind Dover Street, you have Bond Street. Though there's, 450 shops. And all these shop assistants, when they finish work, where do they go? And in my head, I was okay, if I am a shop assistant at Prada, let's say, or Armani, I wake up in the morning, because I work at Armani shop or Prada, the company tells me you have to wear Armani suit, to work. That's your grooming standards. You're selling the suits, you have to wear Armani suit. So they wake up in the morning, somewhere not central London. They put the Armani suit, they take the tube, they come to Bond Street to work. Yes. So they spend 8 hours selling very expensive items, in a very luxurious environment. Yes. Come 6 o'clock, whenever they finish the shift, they still keep their Armani suit. I said, 6 o'clock. I said, I want to go for a drink. Where do they go? And they can't go to anywhere in Mayfair, because or you have to be a member of some shitty members club, sorry, and I've done a members club, or any drink is 25, 30 pounds for a drink.
Or you've got those really bad pubs.
Yeah.
They're really rubbish.
That you have to stand on the corner. All right, mate.
Yeah.
So what they do, these people, they go home, take the tube, 45 minutes on the tube, they go home, they take their Armani suit off, they put it in the cloakroom, and they go to All Bar One or somewhere else, And I said, how nice, because part of my contract, I want to help people, I want to give people. I said, how nice would be to do something in Mayfair, which is known as very expensive, posh area of London, that is accessible, that is younger, not as an age, younger as an attitude, slightly more modern as a design, because I don't want to be known as copy and paste of my restaurant. So every new restaurant should look different and should feel different. And the most important was good value for money.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we started the design process. I came out with this idea of this counter, stainless steel, the longest counter in the country in stainless steel. It was expensive. And, we started writing the menu. And the menu, when I read the menus, and because I always think from the customer perspective, what I would like to eat. If I finish work at 6 or quick lunch, what I like to eat. And if you look at the menu of Dover Street counter, I call it, is a feel-good food or sophisticated room service menu.
Okay.
You've been in Paris a couple of weeks ago, months ago, and when you stay in a good hotel and you have a room service menu, you don't want to leave, because the menu is like all over the place, but it's everything that you want to eat. You have a bowl of pasta, you have your steak, you have a burger, you have sushi, whatever. And I said, let's do a good room service menu. So we did that. So we designed the place, we did the menu. I said, okay, music, because I wanted to be fun. I wanted to be a little bit more naughtier. I wanted to give good time to people who work in Mayfair. And when we started designing, I said, this design is really beautiful, quite striking and modern. And I wanted something which is a contrast. I'm a strong believer of high and low. Yeah. Let's take the Dover as an example. If I go back on time and I tell you, Joe, I'm going to open a restaurant in Mayfair called the Dover. It will be beautiful design, but I will serve penna arrabbiata. There'll be no oysters on the menu. There'll be no yellowtail. There'll be no, some expensive item. You will laugh at me. I said, what? In Mayfair, you're doing penna arrabbiata? And this is what people love. But so that was low as a dish, And then the high was the fine bone china, the tablecloth, the crystal glasses, the design, blah, blah, blah. And Dover Street counter, I want to do the same. So what's the contrast? And I'm old now. The late 90s were my time when I party, and there's music that I love, music that I listen, and I couldn't. So one day I was on Sunday at home, and I started going through my phone, all my playlists. And suddenly, we had Soul to Soul playing, or Grandmaster Flash, proper R&B and soul from 90s. And I close my eyes. I listen. I remember it was a Grandmaster Flash, or Hey DJ, whatever. And I close my eyes and I imagine, okay, stainless steel counter, this foot, this could work. This could work. And then so I put the playlist together, pump it up the music. I close my eyes. I imagine me in the space. I said, let's do it. Let's do it. And I selected every single song, with the help, with my stepdaughter, and my stepdaughter helped me with the playlist. And then we put the playlist, and at the beginning, those times there were a lot of songs, using, not very nice words. So we had to find the clean, or the radio version. We had to find the clean version, but still the same lyrics, but a little more clean and more polite. And then we spent a lot of money on the sound system, because there's a lot of restaurants that have amazing playlists, but the sound system is shit. So you can't hear yourself, you have to shout, and you can't hear the music. And I wanted both. I wanted people to be able to talk, because then there's a restaurant, and I wanted people to say, oh, I can move my shoulders. So we spent a lot of money on the sound system, and now everyone who walks in at the Dover shit counter, they said, oh, I love this music, and they feel good already. And I think if you make the customer happy, you feel good within 5 seconds, they enter. You start winning, and 5 seconds is quite a lot. You see? Yeah. You see, it's quite a lot.
It's hard. I had to laugh.
It's quite intimidating, 5 seconds. But 5 seconds, when you open the door, you see the receptionist, that the reception smiles. You see the lighting, at the right level. You smell. Do you have this nice, beautiful scent of candles?
And you can hear the ice being the bar.
And I said, oh, you open the door, 5 seconds, I feel good.
Yeah.
And rest of the experience, it's like a domino. It won't be easy, but it'll be easier. I already put you in a good mood.
Yeah.
Now I can give you, a burger. Hopefully the burger is good, deliver on time, well priced. You'll be happy.
Yeah.
I call it a rule of 5 seconds.
Rule of 5 seconds. It's very good. But I remember I met you at the Dover just before it opened, and it was still a building site, Dover Street counter. And we walked in, and then on your phone, you just started playing a song. Listen to the song as we walked around. And it was genius. And I was like, okay. And there were builders working there at 11 p.m.
Yeah.
And it was plywood and a mess. But it was incredible. And I could see it all suddenly starting to form. It's really clever. Really, really lovely way to do it. So before we go, I wonder what's next then. You've mentioned various plans to me over the years. What do you want to do after this, or is 3 enough for London? And would you ever go into something completely different away from hospitality? And then part B to that question is, would you ever go to a different city, a different country?
Look, I think the simple answer is probably I don't know, but I don't know about Martino's. I don't know about Dover Street Counter. They all happen naturally and organically. Now being based a little bit in Sloane Square in Chelsea, that part was Mayfair, and then you get kind of southwest. I see a lot of local people in Chelsea. They don't want to come to Mayfair, even though it's not that far.
Yeah.
They said, oh, do I need to go to Mayfair or not need to eat something? So maybe I do something else in Chelsea, because I think there's great customer base, very good crowd, really nice people, and the offering is not that good. I think in that area, it's quite dated.
Yeah.
So maybe we do something in Chelsea. I would love to do one day, my version of Claridge's, my version of Connaught.
Yeah.
I would love to do a proper 5-star hotel. Not intimidating, super elegant, big courtyard. That's kind of it's boiling in my head. I would love to do a resort by the sea. I love water. I love sun, blue sky. But look, we are very organic as a company. After this podcast, if I walked out and I see a building, I said, oh, maybe we should do something here.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to do more. I don't want to do too much, because I want to do less and better. I've done quantity. My previous life, I've done many big things, and now I want to enjoy my life as well. I love working. I'm a workaholic, but I don't want to expand so much that suddenly I thought, I have no time for myself or for my family, or for my team. It's super important that I spend time with the team. And as soon as you start doing, I have 10, 11, 20 restaurants, your time is very limited, to the people that join you to work. And I think it's not fair to them. So is there appetite to open more? Yes. What will be? I got no idea. Maybe a little coffee shop called Pronto. I don't know.
Perfecto. Well, I bet everyone asks you if you want to do a members club again, surely.
Right. Oh, my God. Look, and I could talk about members club for a really long time. And because, again, I'm really passionate. And, members club were born, during the coffee houses in Britain, in late 1600, and they become tea houses. Then they went to India as the gymkhanas, and then become gentlemen clubs. Then gentlemen's club become clubs that allow women. In New York, there was the first club called 1920 that allow women to come in, and then you got RAC and blah blah, and then Soho House was born. So there's millions of clubs around the world, but the main objective of old school members club in the old days, including Soho House at the beginning, was to have the right people at the right time in the right room. Mm-hmm. That was always an idea, to curate that room of people who share the same values or similar values. And what has happened, unfortunately, after COVID, that objective has changed, because a lot of hospitality owners or investors or banks or big corporations said, this is a clever model. You got fees coming from membership, that will pay my rent or my capex, and I'll make money from food and beverage. And by saying that, objective has changed. Because you open the club today and said, okay, how many members I need to cover my rent? I need 1,000 members. Okay. Everyone in, come in. There's no selection, there's no criteria, there's no specific common interest. As long as you pay, you in. Yeah,
pretty much.
And I know there's a lot of members club. They make you feel, I can't get in. Yes, you can get it. Just pick up the phone, pay, and you're in. So I think members club are at the, I don't know if it's at the bottom of the development or at the peak. I think the good ones will survive, and for me the good ones, the one who really stick to the idea of creating the same values and have selection, and not to be driven by greed and money. Because it will bite you in the ass. So for that reason, I don't want to do the members club. And at the moment, you never know in life, because if I tell you, Joe, would you like to be a member of the new club? You said, another club. 99% of people today in London, it's like, another club. And to be a member of the club, let me start again. London has so many amazing restaurants, really fantastic restaurants. You can go out every single night of the year and not go to the same restaurant twice. Easy, So why I call it, to be a member of any clubs today in London, you get free slaps. Slap number one is that, please accept me to be a member. You have to beg somehow to get it. That's slap number one. Slap number two, I'm on the waiting list. Pretending as a waiting list. But it's a slap because you wait. Your mates are go to the club. I'm not a member. You have to wait. And four slap. Slap number three, you have to pay. Yeah. And that fee allows you to enter the club. I'm inside, I paid, fine. And then slap number four is you pay for the coffee, probably more than coffee on the street, which is worse. and so you got another slab. So you have 3 slabs, or 4 slabs. And so I don't believe in members club today. I think there are some amazing members club, and I'm members of some of them, and I go, but there are something has to change now. There need to be some explosion somewhere. That just to clean the mess a little bit, and the purpose should come back. Members clubs are to have the right people in the right room at the right time. So you feel safe, you meet people that you like, you enjoy it, and mostly that the food and beverage and service is high, at a high level. You go today to many of these members club, and the food and drink and service is not as good as a restaurant on the street. But restaurant on the street, I don't have to beg anyone to come in, and I don't have to pay a fee. And it's better food, better service. So at the moment, I'm not thinking about members club, but you never know.
No. Well, I'm very
definitely not now.
Definitely not now. Okay, very exciting. Well, whatever you do next is going to be fun to see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Martin, for doing this. It's lovely to chat to you properly like this.
No, it's nice. It's nice to chat. And look, so whenever I told you at the beginning of this chat, whenever I do, I want to make a difference, and it's not self-pleasing, egoistic exercise. I want to make sure that the teams that work for us, they go home, said, oh, we're learning something. We are treated well. We are paid well. We're learning something new. That makes me really, really happy. And then on the top of that, if I have customers saying, we had great time in your places and we love your places, it makes me really, really, really happy. And the last one, if I see people copying us a little bit, oh, New York Italian is a new trend in London, fine, great. But that's a compliment, because we are a very small company, but in this micro little segment, we're making a bend in the hospitality. We're making a tiny change to make this hospitality, this sector, a little bit nicer, a little bit better, because it's a beautiful sector to work with.
Lovely, beautiful.
Anyway,
thank you, Martin. Lovely.
Thank you. Good chat.
Good.
Thank you very much.